Look, I haven't done this in a long time, so I hope this is working. Hmm. Let me take a look. Look at that. And I think I can edit this later, but I don't really know. Live now. Okay, it looks like it is working. Cool. Cool. Okay. And this is part of the little challenge I've taken up to make like 6 apps by the end of the year. This particular one, we'll be creating a quick re-rendition of something like Splitwise or similar applications. Now, the main goals of this is to just go through the process of quick prototyping and show what it's like to, at least what my thought process is while going through quick prototyping. Um, yeah, that's it. Let's get started. So, I'm at zero here. I haven't started doing anything. This is my project. I'm calling it Splitty. I haven't made a single file yet. No project, nothing, nothing here at all yet. Typing with my left hand, not fun. There we go. That sounded less. Yeah, so before I actually start to code, right, the entire point of prototyping is to build something, and you can't build something if you don't know what you're going to build. So you have to start defining what you want to do, and especially when you want to do quick prototyping, it's very important that you define the stages of what you're going to build. You say, hey, this is my first deliverable, this is my second deliverable, and so on. This might seem like wasted effort, but it saves a lot of time down the road, because if you don't do this, you don't know what you want to build and you end up going in circles and not building anything of value. Now, so what is the goal here? The goal here is to build something like Splitwise. So people can split costs, and that's about it. Now, what is the initial? I'm sorry about my handwriting, by the way. What's the impetus for this? Right? It's basically because Splitwise is pushing Splitwise Plus so much that you can only add like three items every day, which if you're using Splitwise for your day-to-day expenses, that's plenty. It's not going to impede you from using it. But if you use Splitwise like I do for trips and things like that, it's an issue because you usually don't add the expenses on the trip, and especially when it's a road trip, you're going to have a lot of small expenses over the day. So not even like three threes just doesn't cut it. And especially the way I use it is by adding all the expenses after the trip is done. I go through my bank statements and I add all of them at once, and that really doesn't work with the 3% limit. So we need to define what we want to build here, right? And what's important is like a mistake I find a lot of developers making when they try to make like passion projects and stuff like that is that they try to just copy Splitwise, but copying Splitwise doesn't actually help you build anything because you don't go through the thought process of how you want to design a product and stuff like that. So saying you want to make a Splitwise clone is easy. Saying what you want to make differently is what really helps you stand out, right? So I I, I'm not doing this to stand out, but I want to. What I would suggest is building something that adds to your workflow, that helps you fix problems that you have at Splitwise, right? So there are a couple of things there. So I want to optimize uh, adding in bulk, uh, like end of a trip or something like that. So this is because that's my workflow, right? And optimizing adding in bulk, it really helps if you can do stuff with just your keyboard, right? So keyboard shortcuts. like supremely important, because that's how you, like, when you're going through a list of items through your bank statements or something, you really don't want to get pulled out of that workflow. um, and keyboard shortcuts really help with that, because you don't have to move between your keyboard and your mouse, because you need your keyboard to type in like the amounts and stuff like that anyway. So keyboard shortcuts, I think, would really help. uh, and what See, I don't expect everybody to just move to whatever clone I'm making here, but what would help me, uh, and actually help me use this continuously beyond just prototyping, right, is if I can export uh, whatever cost I have to CSV, uh, which helps me essentially add the CSV to Splitwise and add the costs there. So, you know, people can just go through the CSV and see what the full costs are, and I don't have to add each individual item in the CSV. So, what I'm saying is not that we'll import the CSV in Splitwise. What I'm saying is we'll make an entry in Splitwise, make one entry, and then link to the CSV from there, uh, and just have like overall that this person has to like owes this person this much, this person owes this person this much, and so on. So that makes it so that I can actually just export stuff from here and add it to Splitwise if I'm splitting costs with somebody who doesn't have isn't willing to use my application. So these are my high level uh, goals in building this product. Um, Now let's get to a little bit more of the nitty gritty. Right? So one of the difficulties of that we'll have here is that Splitwise and apps like Splitwise are something that you would use both on your computer as well as on a mobile device. And this is an issue because what you do on a computer is stuff like bulk adding and going through everything, like essentially anything that happens in bulk you do on a computer. On mobile you want to do like one-off stuff, and so the use case between mobile and computer are completely different, and that makes it difficult to design for. So I mean, I want a hackathon project, right? I don't want to make a company out of this. So like ideally what you would do here you'd make mobile apps like native applications for mobile, and then you'd make like a web application on laptop, or maybe even native applications on laptop if that's what you prefer. But we don't have the time for that, so we can't do this. This is not like an impossibility for us. So we are just going to make one web application, like focus that on the computer use case, because that's what my priorities are, right? My priorities are for doing stuff in bulk and stuff like that. And if we get time, or maybe in a separate hackathon, we'll make either like a web application itself for mobile and then use a PWA to publish that on mobile, or maybe if I feel particularly motivated, maybe make a native app. Who knows? uh, right, so at least for this particular hackathon we are just focusing on the aspect of web for computers, and specifically for bulk operations and stuff like that. Okay, so let's think about design for a bit. How do we want to actually build something? Um, So again, this is going to be a web app. It's going to need a server because we need to store the applications. We can store it in local storage, but that makes it difficult to especially if you want to move to mobile or something. Makes it difficult, and it makes it difficult to actually split costs across multiple people. We'll have some level of server client architecture. It's relatively straightforward stuff. But because the business logic here is not going to be particularly complicated, I think just using something like Next.js is sufficient. So that's what I'll go with. I'll make a Next.js app for this with we'll probably need authentication because we'll need multiple people that are going to be sharing stuff. How will we roll out authentication? I'm thinking of just using Google Auth. and username password. Maybe just start with Google Auth and then go to username password later. I haven't done this kind of development in a while, but when I used to do it, Auth.js used to be a thing, and or NextAuth, I think they rebranded, but I think it's called Auth.js now. I need to take a look at that. And what would the actual design look like? I think we'll just start with like the very basics, right? So we'll just have like a list of, first of all, you need your groups. So you need to show groups here. You need to show uh, expenses in a group, and this really suggests like a sidebar structure, because you have like one item and then you want to show stuff in that item. So I think sidebar is easiest, with like maybe an add button over there, and then you need to be able to invite people into these groups, and we'll just have like an add layout over there along with like the list of expenses and stuff. So it looks relatively straightforward. There doesn't seem to be much of a complication here. So we do need to make like a to-do list of stuff that we'll do, but I like to, at this point, we have like a rough idea of what we want to build. So we'll pause here. We'll just do all the setup for Next.js and all of that, and then we'll take it from there.
What? Is there?
Damn it. Uh, hate this. How to fix it? Interesting, right? Nothing's going to show up because of the inode stuff. I have another monitor on the side with my, music and stuff. So I'm listening to music. It's just that I can't show it because of legal shit. Cool. So the way I like to organize my projects is by having like a to-do.md file. Um, need to make GitHub repo for this as well, but and then I just type my to-dos here in the list of in the order in which I want to make it. So during quick prototyping, I always like to do the UI first, and then get to like the wiring. Um, this helps me mentally keep an image of what I'm doing. That this way. Second, because this is just like prototyping, there's no need to um, keep code clean and stuff like that. I do try to keep it like a little bit manageable, but that's about it. I don't really care about it much more than that. since GitHub is you know personal stuff, I'm just doing it on my personal monitor. I'm not logged in there as well. Lol. Wow, did my SSH key expire on my personal? It does look like it. Okay, I just checked my SSH. It just happened that the permissions on um, the files were too permissive, so it wasn't adding it in my agent. So now it works. Using Git along with everything else, like even during prototyping, super useful. Just in case you do too much and you fuck up, it's very easy to go back. A real easy way to check whether you know, your layout is working well is to use colors. A slightly better way to do this than Flex would be to use CSS Grid, but Flex just works so well for prototyping because you don't have to worry about much. At least, maybe that's just because I'm more used to Flex than um, Grid. Could be a reason. Maybe I'll try to do this with Grid later. So the reason I did what I did there is because I want to keep um, this, like the layout of the split panel view different from the layout of each of these main panel and side panel. So these guys don't have to worry about how the actual like split view is laid out. You just worry about what's there internally. The white here seems a bit too harsh. Background colors need to be changed too, so I think I'll just keep it like this for now. I'm pretty happy with this. An interesting question here is so actions like hey, inviting people to the group or leaving the group, would they belong in the side panel or the main panel? Because technically, those are actions within the group, but if we keep it in the side panel, then all the side panel, like the side panel will be used to do all group stuff, and then main panel will be used to do all the expense stuff. It's an interesting question. Hmm. Okay, I think I'll do it in the side panel itself. Seems like a better way to do it. Cool. Okay, I think I'll take care of the new group button first and the action that it's supposed to do. I'm thinking when you click on this, like a little modal pops down literally underneath it, or maybe above it, uh, that asks, hey, what's the name of your group? And do you want me to invite someone? Oh my god, the do you want me to invite someone will have to be like a search text field, which sucks to implement. Well, this was this. Let's do it. So this kind of thing really annoys me, where this is supposed to go like that, right? But it doesn't. We need to fix that. Okay, what would be the easiest way to fix this? Would be to set the background of this thing to like a black, gray color. I think I can just do it here. Yeah. Of course, there are better ways to do this, um, like using various functions and stuff like that, but I'm gonna skip that for now. Oops, use state only works in client components, of course. Let's make everything a client component for now, because we really don't care about that yet, because we're not building the backend. Let's just use client. Oh no, okay, that's because this is we. Oh no, that's too big. God damn it. We're gonna have to create a component. We don't need to make sure now that this and this are the same value. It's a little bit of pain. Well, actually, we don't need to do that. We can just remove this now because the background is now the right color. And that still works. And essentially, we set the actual background color that we want here, and that becomes the background of the pop-up as well. Let's make sure that this is in fact colored in, and it is, and that's it. See, some animations, some icons here would really change the usability of this and the polish of it. But again, we're prototyping, so we don't do stuff like that. We do need to remember to add the rounding to this as well. See, that makes everything consistent, otherwise things look odd. Kind of worried that this space might be too small for text input, and there's far too much padding. So let's reduce the padding a little bit. Pretty sure I had like a P8 somewhere that I need to get rid of. Okay. Is that not why? Are there multiple paddings here? Group create. Oh, there's a P8 here too. We're adding P16 total, which is horrible. There you go, much better. Okay, I'm doing something a little bit cool, but I need to think about how to lay this out properly. Interesting. Should probably swap those. There you go. Looks pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean, I didn't know whether this would look good. I just made it, and if it didn't look good, I would have tossed it out. Now the way I've made the layout like this, it's a little bit complicated, is because this way this entire button doesn't have to re-render, uh, or the button won't be like removed from the DOM. It's just changing like the text and the is open attribute and stuff like that. Of course, this will change from toggle open to something else. Maybe I should create it right now. This is my favorite way to do things in um, like during prototyping, is to alert saying to do and then something. That way, if I search for to do globally, I'll find this, and since it's an alert, things will be very quick, easy to find if I run into it somewhere. Like that's not supposed to happen. Like easy to see. This is about the maximum amount of complexity I like in a single component, but during prototyping, you don't really care about things like that. You just keep going. Okay, now we need to get input components. And input components, I almost never style myself. I just go search for Tailwind components and use them. Maybe ShatCN. Flowbait's really good too. I found this. I forgot what it was called. There was this nice component website which just gave you like a list of components. The issue with ShatCN is that it requires, um, Redux UI, which, oh, what is it called? Radix UI, which I don't really like third-party dependencies when I'm just quickly making stuff. Uh, if I can avoid it, I try to. In our case here, I think any of these would work. I don't really think we have anything particularly complicated. We are literally just asking for, hey, what's your group name? I think that's it. I would prefer one of those Android-ish components which just has like a line. But I guess I can't find it, so just copy like that. This stuff is meant to be copied, so feel no shame in doing this. Unexpected token div, very interesting. What? I did something stupid here. Oh, lol. Of course. Gotta be careful between JSX and React. Sorry, JSX and HTML are the same thing. There you go. Hoo hoo hoo. I don't like how much space there is in the bottom here. I think went overboard on my PY. Maybe I should do a PP. Oh, there's a margin button too. That's why. Let me get rid of it. That's too little. Yeah, I think PY6 is fine. Or maybe 4. Give it a more homely feeling. Like make it closer to the buttons. Looks nice. I really like. I would really like it if when I click this, it automatically focused into this. So let's implement that. Actually, let's not implement that. It's not that hard, right? You need to pass the ref of this there so that when I click this, the ref can be, you can call focus on the ref. But should I do it? Should I do it? So difficult. Uh, it's difficult because it's prototyping. You want to do the minimal possible stuff, but you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you want to do. Oh no, this is an issue because focus ref doesn't exist until after I click the button. Hmm. Should I use a set timeout? Let's use a set timeout. Just to explain what I did there. I'll explain what I did there once I figure out whether this works or not. Console. Yeah, it's focusing. There you go. Yeah, so basically the issue is that um, when I click toggle, if it's not open yet, right? So after this is an asynchronous operation. It's going to be, it's going to change the state and then render the stuff on the next render cycle, and in the next render cycle, only in the next render cycle does is open actually become set to true, and then this gets created, right? So this gets mounted in the DOM. But if this is not mounted in the DOM, focus ref is nothing. So right after this, because synchronously it goes right there. I mean, let's imagine the set timeout wasn't there, right? Like, let's imagine, oops, let's imagine it look like that. It would go directly in there, and then at this point of time, focus ref doesn't exist if it's closed. If I'm just opening it, so it wouldn't do anything. So I need to do this to make sure that we're waiting for a bit so that the actual render happens. Sure, there are better ways to do this, but set timeout just works until it doesn't. But we'll leave that for later. One of the biggest issues with set timeout is that it has to be a client component, but that works in this case because group create has to be a client component anyway. It has a button in it. We need to build a lot of keyboard shortcuts to make this work well, but we'll do that later. But I think that's it for that button. We need to make it actually work, but that comes later. This looks kind of awkward, to be honest. That looks kind of better. Uh, mm, there's a lot of gap in between them. Let's reduce the gap. Can I like remove that entirely? Hmm. I think what we need to do is like this. Hmm. That doesn't work. There you go. That's a little bit better. Time for good old copy paste. The reason I'm not having like an is open kind of thing, like here I had that, is because that's going to be determined by routing later. So it'll be kind of pointless to do that with state. We might need to show who all are there in the group as well, but that I think is better put over here. Like putting it over here would be too, um, like, yeah, it'll make it look kind of awkward. Like it'll be too compact. We could use like those bubbles, like profile bubbles, but still, I don't like it being here. I would much rather put it over there. But this component looks fine for now, so let's move on. Ideally, this guy would be like a search component, which is why I've made a separate component and make it a search later. This leave should probably ask us if we are sure about leaving. I think there's an alert component for that. I happen to remember the navigation API has having some like custom questions or something. I don't remember exactly though. Yeah, no, I don't want to do any of this. Okay, now I'll take a break. I hope I can stop this and then come back to it. Not sure. Never done this before. Okay, let's try to pause.